Friends, I am here with a wig review that I am thrilled to bring you guys. I have Girl Mono in a large cap. That's right. My beloved Girl Mono by Ellen Wille now comes in a large cap. You guys, Girl Mono was like my all-time favorite wig for a few years in the beginning of my wig wearing journey. I wore it constantly, and all I ever heard from people is they would love to try it, but they had larger head measurements, and so therefore the average petite cap, which was typically how Ellen Wille caps ran at the time, wouldn't fit them. Well, now we have a large cap, and I'm here to tell you all about it and show you guys this color stone gray rooted. So if you want to know more about all of this and hear why I love Girl Mono so much, then stick around. I would like to thank Name Brand. Please consider Name Brand wigs for your next synthetic, or they do carry human hair in the major name brands wig purchase, because they're a really wonderful retailer. They do a lot for this wig wearing community, and I really love them. I'll put some details in the description, as well as a 30% off coupon code, which will save you money on this piece or most of the other brands that they carry. Let's take a look at this one from all sides. Please keep in mind she's pretty much out of the box. And I'm going to talk about Girl Mono challenges out of the box. So, I do have a video actually showing how I work with a brand new Girl Mono out of the box. It is relevant for just about any other synthetic wig out there. One of the things that I find is that curly wigs can sometimes be a challenge coming out of the box. They tend to have box hair, kind of smashed curls, and often the manufacturers, once the hair is curled, they leave that curl. Just like when you curl your hair with a curling iron, if you don't at least finger comb it, if not comb through it, you've got these super formed curls that don't look really natural. And I do find that to be the case often with Girl Mono. This one was a little bit of a challenge out of the box. All I've done with this is finger comb it. I did take a wide tooth comb to the nape and just a gentle on the ends. I don't like to comb through my Girl Monos because I don't want to relax this curl pattern, but sometimes you got to do a few things. So I'm going to tack that video, or I'm going to link that video in the description below. I show you everything I do, and sometimes that involves water, spraying it with water, shaking it out, hanging it upside down. So if you ever struggle with a brand new curly wig out of the box, I hope that that will give you some ideas of things that you can do to sort of wake up those curls and make them look a little more natural. It's really normal, and I'd hate for you to miss out on a beautiful curly synthetic because you're not sure what to do with them out of the box. So I made that video for you guys. All right, so Girl Mono. I love this wig so much. Now, I understand that many of you are overwhelmed by wigs right now. You're new to the journey. Maybe you've been losing your hair, so everything feels too big. Unfortunately, even though Girl Mono has really little to no Permatease, there's a little bit of Permatease back here, which honestly isn't that big of a deal because you're not looking at the back of your head, and it does help spring these curls up and give them a little bounce. But there really isn't. There's no poofy, pillowy Permatease up here. There's a little bit of crimpy fibers on the side, but nothing extreme or pillowy. When I first started wearing wigs, I couldn't wear wigs with Permatease. I wanted the lowest density wigs with no Permatease. That's why it's such a surprise that I fell so in love with Girl Mono. I think within 5 months, maybe 6 months of wig wearing, I just was stunned by it. And honestly, I can't explain it. That's why I like to tell people about this piece, because you just never know what's going to call your name and be completely different than anything you've ever worn. And Girl Mono was that for me. Now, I do like to style Girl Mono. I have worn Girl Mono in like a half up, half down. You can take a clip. The beauty of curls like this is you can do a lot with this styling, and they're so forgiving. I've also been known to take and pull Girl Mono back into like a low ponytail and leave some of the curls cascading down all around. So you can absolutely have some flexibility in how you style this piece, even though it's not terribly long. I have worn it every which way. It's so fun to do. Let's look inside the cap. So we've got a lace front, a left mono, so that means left part going over to the right. We've got soft ear tabs with bendable stays in them, an extended nape, Velcro adjusters. You guys can see how far I have these in. I could actually have pulled them in even further than that. We'll talk about size and fit and all of that in a minute or two. So, one of the challenges I'm having with this one is that it really doesn't fit me well. Well, I'm having a couple challenges. Let's start with that one. Because this is so big on me, it's not fitting me great. And so I normally like to take a picture. I tack pictures on the end of all my videos of the lace front so that you can see it, but I can't really get the lace to lay flat. It's kind of buckling on me, and it's just because this wig doesn't fit me. But there's that lace front right there. I have found that Ellen Wille lace fronts are a little light for my skin tone. They show up just a little bit because they're very, very light. And so what I tend to do with my Ellen Wille wigs is I take a pinking shears and I cut the lace back just a little bit. And what that does is it creates a scalloped edge, and it really does hide it. So if you have a wig with a lace front that's not working well for you, consider doing that and seeing if that helps. I do have a video showing how I do that. That's one of my solutions for this brand or any brand where the lace isn't as transparent on me as I'd like. In addition, I am finding it to be really front heavy right here. You know, I've had Ellen Wille wigs with a ton of lift in the front, like a real cowlick right here. And then I've had them where, or not Ellen Wille, Girl Mono in particular, where the front was kind of heavy. So this one does have a bit of a heavy front. A couple of things you can do. Because it's got that gorgeous lace front, you can take and do a twist and put a clip in. I love doing that. And I wore my Girl Mono like this a ton because I just love that look. So with the lace front, you can do that. Another option is just to continue to play with it. You know, kind of find where it wants to part and then just play with it. You can eventually, over time, train those fibers to go away and off your face. Another option would be to cut bangs into it. Now, because there's a curl pattern, that can be a little tricky, but on the bangs on mine, you know, it's not as curly as the rest of this, and it is fairly straight for a little ways. So if you get a piece and the curl starts up a little bit higher, so when you cut bangs that they don't really want to lay right, all you need is a round brush and a clothing steamer. Since this is regular synthetic, you're not going to take heat tools to it, but you can use steam. So you have a couple of options. You can cut bangs and then steam them so they lay a little flatter, or you can get some lift in the front by putting steam on the front section here. I put it on a mannequin head, and then I sometimes just sort of like I'll clip it back a little bit and then I'll steam it and just kind of let it cool. That's the key. You have to let the hair cool, and then the new style will be baked in. So I let it cool, and then it will come down, and there'll be like a little bit of a lift here. So while this one is a little front heavy right here, there are definitely things you can do. If you find that you absolutely love everything else about this style, don't be afraid to play with your wigs and make them your own. You can also always thin out the front just a little bit. That's tricky, and for a new wig wearer, that's probably a bit much. But I learned to steam bangs on a wig within my first few months, so it's definitely something you can do. I know I already talked about Permatease, but let's talk about density. I think this is a very light to moderate density, but because of these curls, it actually feels really voluminous. So it isn't a high density wig, but to a new wig wearer, it might feel like it is just because of the big curls on it. But like I said, I can't explain why every other wig that was big on me, like voluminous, I rejected, but when I got Girl Mono, my life was changed. It really was. Girl Mono was like the first wig that made me excited about the wig wearing journey. Like I could really enjoy this and have fun with it. And I'd probably tried 20 to 30 wigs prior to getting Girl Mono, maybe more than that. So there is something special about this one. If you love curls, maybe you're not ready for it quite yet, but don't write this one off. It really was just the best. And these fibers, oh my gosh, you guys, they are the softest fibers. I truly, in the very beginning, I couldn't believe how these felt just like hair to me. And my Girl Mono wigs lasted. I wore them almost every day for a long period of time, and I would say I was wearing a Girl Mono for over a year probably 4 to 5 times a week. Now, obviously she didn't look as good toward the end as she did in the beginning. You know, the curls will start to relax some, become a little bit more like waves instead of these super curls, but these fibers are so hardy. I really believe I got my money's worth and then some out of my Girl Monos. So I definitely think this one is a workhorse and will last and kind of go the distance as long as you care for it, you're careful with the lace and all of that. All right, let's talk about fit. Like I said earlier, 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA is known for running more average petite. I do actually think their caps have been starting to get a little bigger in the past 18 months. And it's not just my opinion, I've heard that from many, but this is absolutely running like a large cap. I have a 21¼ circumference and I sometimes have to cinch my average cap wigs in, but not always and not generally very far. I have to cinch this one beyond, like I have to cross the adjusters. So this is absolutely running very big. I have to believe it'll fit a 23-inch circumference. I just have to, by how much I have to cinch this in. And I'm getting a ton of cap up here. Normally on 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA, I would say typically they will fit a 22-inch circumference comfortably, because I used to have a 22-inch circumference before I lost a lot of weight. When I was wearing my Girl Mono, I was a 22-inch circumference and it was never an issue for me. Where I do think Girl Mono, or just 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA in general, does tend to run a little smaller is the top, over the top. Because I don't generally get a lot of extra cap up on the top. And I do in brands like Jon Renau and Raquel Welch and other brands, I do tend to get extra cap. That's where I think the original 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA wigs run a little small. This, to me, is running large everywhere. Like, tons of extra cap up here. So much. And again, I've cinched this in so far, and I could cinch it in even further. So you can see I've basically met the adjusters. I could go further with these adjusters. So if you have wanted to try 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA or Girl Mono, and maybe you have and it didn't fit you in the past, oh yeah, that's way better. I just crossed them. That's way better. Then I would recommend that you give the large cap a shot. It really is running quite big. If your measurements are not a lot bigger than mine and they're all listed in the description, you can wear the average cap. I really think that this is running very true to large. All right, guys, I've raved enough. Let's talk about color. Stone Gray Rooted. One of the things I love about 𝑙𝑛𝑣𝑖LLA is they include the codes, the color codes on the tag. So in addition to the name Stone Gray Rooted, the color code's 56.60.58. They used to carry the root number as well. They don't do that anymore, which I wish that they would bring that back. I actually have a blog post where I talk about color because it is so incredibly difficult when it comes to wigs. And I've got a color index where I list what each color code means. And so if you do buy a wig or look at a wig that has the codes, that can tell you an awful lot about what colors are in that piece. So a 56, let me look at my chart over here, is gray with brown, about 10% brown. A 60 is white, or sometimes silver white. And a 58 is a blend. That's all I can tell you because I don't know exactly what they've done to blend it. But what we have here is a gorgeous silver gray, a little bit of a pepper to it. Now it is rooted inside, and I know you guys, I hear you. I wish I could do something about more grays that don't have rooting, but it is what it is. But I will tell you, first of all, inside, in all of my lighting, this rooting looks a lot darker than it is. When we go outside, you will see it is such a subtle root. It's very, very subtle. It's almost like a shadow and very subtle. And it's kind of an ashy, almost like a brown black. It's not black, but it's a dark brown. Like if I pull it to the side, it's like an ashy dark brown. I'm going to take that back. When I pull it aside, I'm not seeing black. When I don't pull it aside, in this bright lighting, it looks a little bit darker, but it is a gorgeous gray. Silver gray, a little bit of a kind of a pepper to it. I wouldn't call this a traditional salt and pepper at all. I do think that they've named it really well. Stone Gray. Kind of looks like, you know, rocks you'll see outside a little bit. Let's get outside so you can see this color outside. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you have experience with girl mono or even the large cat, please leave it in the comments. People would appreciate to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. All right, friends, here's this color outside. This is pretty much out of the box. I did shake her out a little bit and I've run my fingers through her, but I haven't gotten the part fixed. I haven't done really anything else with it. I rarely find a girl mono shake and go right out of the box. I typically find they need a little bit of help. So it is rooted, but it's a really light, subtle root. It's not super dark. Beautiful color. All right. Hey friends, thanks so much for watching. Here are a few videos I think you might enjoy. Go ahead and click on one and watch.